Assalamu alaikum, ChatGPT.
Walaikum salam, Danish. How have you been today?
I am fine. I want to discuss a topic with you today.
Go ahead.
Uh,
What's on your mind?
it will be around 10-11 minute video on the topic how to deal with criticism and use it for self improvement.
Okay, I've got it.
So listen
So
to
you want?
listen to my intro first, and then I will ask starting question from you.
All right. I'm ready when you are.
Nobody like being criticized, especially when words are harsh or unexpected. Sometimes criticism can make us feel embarrassed, disappointed, or even question our abilities. But criticism can also be useful when we learn how to help us understand our mistake, improve our weakness, and grow as individuals. Important thing is not to avoid criticism completely because that is almost impossible. Instead, we should learn how to listen, understand it, and decide when we can learn from it. So, throughout this conversation, we'll explore how to handle criticism without being defensive, how to recognize constructive criticism, and how to turn feedback into opportunity for self improvement. My question number one is, why do people usually feel hurt or defensive when someone criticizes them?
People usually feel hurt because criticism pokes at their sense of self. Like, am I good enough? It's not just the words, it's what they seem to say about us. And when something feels like an attack on our character or competence, defensiveness kicks in, almost automatically, like a shield. And honestly, that reaction is pretty normal.
What is the difference between constructive criticism and criticism that is simply meant to hurt someone?
Constructive criticism usually has specifics, like pointing to something that can actually be worked on, like this report needed more sources, or I think this paragraph could be clearer. It's aimed at improvements, not humiliation. Mean spirited criticism feels personal, vague, or mocking, more about tearing someone down than helping.
How can we stay calm when we receive criticism instead of immediately reacting emotionally?
One trick is to literally pause, like take a deep breath before saying anything. Sometimes counting to five in your head buys a bit of space. You can also remind yourself this is feedback, not a verdict on me. If needed, say, thanks, I need a moment. That delay helps keep emotions from steering the ship.
How can criticism help us discover weaknesses that we may not notice ourselves?
Yeah, that's the useful side. Other people see patterns we miss. Maybe you rush decisions or skip details, or your tone comes across sharper than you intend. If you can strip away the sting and just ask, is there truth here? You might find a blind spot that's actually fixable, which makes you stronger in the long run.
Can you give me some example?
Sure, say a colleague tells you your slides are hard to read. That hurts a bit, but to cram too much information on a single slide, that's a concrete tweak. Bigger fonts, less clutter, more white space. Same with something like being told, you interrupt people. That could sting, but it points to a habit you can catch and practice holding back, asking more questions, giving more space. Small changes, but real growth.
Should we accept every piece of criticism we receive, or should we learn to decide which feedback is valuable?
Definitely learn to decide. Not all feedback is useful. Ask, is this specific fair and aimed at improvement? Does it come from someone who actually knows the subject? If yes, it's probably worth considering. If it's vague, mean, or just venting, it's optional at best. That way, you stay open without taking on junk criticism that drags you down for no reason.
What should we do when criticism is delivered in a rude or disrespectful way?
First, don't mirror the rudeness. Take a breath, Focus on the content, not the delivery. If there's something useful, take that part only. The rest you can set aside. And if it's just abusive or unhelpful, it's okay to disengage. Like, I'm open to feedback, but not this tone. Your growth matters, but so does your dignity.
Can you explain with some examples?
Sure, somebody says, that idea is stupid. Only an idiot would suggest that. There's zero helpful info there, just insults, so you can let that pass. But if someone says, this idea might not work because the numbers don't add up, that's specific. Now you can ask, which numbers? Or what data do we need? Same with tone. You talk over people. Is useful feedback. You're so annoying when you talk is not. One gives you a path forward, the other doesn't. So filter for usefulness. If it helps you grow or fix something, keep it. If not, let it go.
Okay. Can criticism actually help us build confidence in the long run? Why or why not?
Yeah, when it's constructive and you use it to adjust, yes. Each time you take feedback and act on it, you get proof you can improve. That record of small wins builds quiet confidence. But constant negative comments, especially if they're nasty or baseless, can chip away at confidence. So the key is choosing what to take in and what to leave with the person who's said it. Handle that balance well, and criticism can strengthen you instead of shrinking you.
How can we turn negative feedback into motivation to improve ourselves?
Pick one doable change, not a whole personality overhaul. Like if the note is about being too wordy, practice shorter summaries. Track that small win, notice progress, and let that fuel the next step. Motivation grows from evidence that you can actually change things, and that evidence stacks up fast.
Have you ever received criticism that initially upset you but later helped you become better at something?
Honestly, yes. Early in my training, feedback about speaking too quickly annoyed me. But I slowed down, practiced breathing, shorter sentences, and yeah, talks got clearer. At the time, it felt irritating, even embarrassing. But later, it made a real difference. That's kind of the model. Cringe first, growth later. If you can sit through the sting and mine the lesson, criticism turns from a sting into training data for the better version of you that's already on the way.
What are some practical habits we can develop to become better at accepting learning from criticism?
Start by pausing before reacting. Literally say, let me think about that. Second, write the feedback down. Separate the useful part from the tone. Third, ask, what's one small thing I can test from this? Fourth, do regular check ins with someone you trust. They can give perspective when you're too close. Little by little, these habits make feedback feel less like judgment and more like information you can use or politely pass on.
How can we give ourselves constructive criticism without becoming too hard on ourselves?
Talk to yourself the way you'd talk to a decent friend. Honest, but not cruel. If something goes wrong, name it, note one tweak, then move on. And give yourself credit, even for imperfect progress. Self kindness isn't coddling, it's keeping the ground steady so growth doesn't feel like punishment.
To conclude, criticism is not always something we should fear or avoid. Sometimes it can be the one most valuable tool for personal growth. The key is to listen carefully, control our emotion, consider the intention behind the feedback, and decide what we can learn from it. We don't have to accept every criticism we hear, but we should always be willing to learn from the feedback is fair and useful. Nobody is perfect, and everyone has area where they can improve. Instead of seeing criticism as a personal attack, we can choose to see constructive feedback as a mirror that helps us recognize we can do better. So next time someone give you criticism, take a moment before reacting and ask yourself, what I can learn from this? And that leads to our final question. If you receive criticism today, would you choose to become defensive or would you use it as an opportunity to become a better version of yourself? Thank you, dears. Take care. Allah Hafiz.